Need a new drinking game? Take a shot every time I say the word Indian in this video. R.I.P. your liver. Well, how's it, people? Or should I say, vanakkam? So a while back, I made this video. You remember that video where I tell you what not to say to an Indian? Yeah, that one. Well, it seems like that video triggered just a little bit of a reaction. It got roughly 17,000 views. Oh, so much! Ma, is that you? And 100 and something comments. Oh, you overboard comments, man. Yeah, I know. Okay, granted, half of those comments are mine, but still, that's a lot of comments. Now, the comments are what caught my attention, you see, for two reasons. Number one, it seems like many South African Indians could relate to what I had said. And number two, well, it seemed like many people were confused about what even a South African Indian is. And even in real life, hey, people are confused, no jokes. This is pretty much every reaction I get whenever I tell someone where I'm from. No, wait, you're from South Africa? No way, man, I would have thought like India or something. You look so Indian. Never gets old. So what I've decided to do is I've decided to respond to just a couple of those comments on that video, and hopefully my response will shed some light on this elusive creature that is the South African Indian. Okay, so now when I say that people are confused by what South African Indian entails, I usually mean people who are not South African. It's usually foreign people who don't really understand how I can be South African and Indian at the same time. Whether I am in Korea or whether I travel to other countries, foreigners don't really get it. And that's totally fine. I mean, it kind of annoyed me, but now that I've sat down and I've thought about it, I kind of get why it can be confusing. Okay, so let's take this comment for example. Hello Sandhira, I'm from India. How are South African Indians? Well, hello! How are South African Indians? Well, we're doing just great, thanks for asking. We're just hunky-dory. I mean, we're doing a lot better than how we were doing about 160 years ago when we were brought to South Africa as laborers in the sugarcane plantations. What? Sam? 160 years ago? Sugarcane plantations? That's right! You see, that's how South African Indians got to South Africa in the first place. We were brought to South Africa by the good old British. Oh, those little English scoundrels. I laugh about it now because fast forward to today and I now live on a sugarcane farm. So, started from the bottom, now we here. So yeah, mystery person who posted this comment, if you asked me this question about 160 years ago, I would have said, yeah, how are South African Indians? Well, pretty rough to be honest. But today things are obviously completely different. You see, well, a lot of those Indians who were brought to South Africa from India just decided, you know, after a while, I guess they got kind of used to South Africa, so I guess they just decided to settle down and start a new life in South Africa. And so a lot of them didn't return to India. And that is essentially how the South African Indian was born. I'm happy to announce that a lot has changed in 160 years. I think it's safe to say that life is a lot different for the modern day South African Indian. We've come a long way since slaving away in the sugarcane fields. Okay, so now that you know how South African Indians landed up in South Africa, well, I guess that answers this question. Yeah, hey, where Indians go, the masala will follow. Now on to this comment. Now, if you look past all the grammatical errors, basically what this person is trying to say is that I shouldn't get annoyed when people think that I'm from India, because even though I was born in South Africa, my bloodline goes all the way back to India, so therefore I am Indian and I will not ever be South African. Basically, I'm not black, so I can only be Indian. Right, so let me explain. Now, you remember when I said that Indians have been in South Africa for about 160 years? 157 years to be exact. Do you know what that means? That means that I, for example, am a fourth generation South African. Which means that I was born in South Africa, my parents were born in South Africa, their parents were born in South Africa, and their parents were born in South Africa. I have never been to India. Would you believe that my parents have never been to India? Would you believe that out of 4 of my grandparents, 2 of them had never been to India? I know, it's crazy, I know. Oh, if I had a rant for every time a non-South African person has asked me, so, how often do you return to India? Man, I could probably buy that boat that brought all those Indians to South Africa. And because there is this vast 4-generation gap between me and my last ancestor born in India, I see myself as 100,000,000% South African. Which is why I kind of have a problem with this person who is telling me that my roots are not South African. Now, obviously, I know that I'm of Indian descent. I am not in denial about that. I know. But you see, there is a big difference between actual physics and blood, pedigree, genetics, and identity. It's 2 completely different things. Yes, I know it looks like I should come from India. I know I have the Indian hair and the Indian skin. I know that I'm Indian by descent. I know. And I know I don't typically look South African, whatever that means. But it's about who I am. Forget what my blood is. It's about what I feel running through my blood. And that is South African. Because of that huge 4-generation gap between me and my last ancestor to be born in India, I have no choice but to identify as 172,000,000% South African. But listen up. I am not for 1 second saying that South African Indians are less Indian. Just because we identify as fully South African doesn't make us less Indian. Because even after all those years, we've still clutched on to our traditions, our customs, our culture. We still do our prayers. We still go to the temple. Okay, I won't lie, not me though, because I completely let go of all religion. But other than me, for the most part, South African Indians, they still do all the prayers. They still go to the temple. We still fast. Okay, I won't lie, not me, because, you know, meat. But other than me, Indians still fast. What about Indian food? I might seem whiter than most white people, but I won't lie to you. I'm pretty sure there's a curry on our stove at home at least 6 out of 7 days a week. South African Indians, we might have been disconnected from India for 4 generations, but nothing nothing will come between a South African Indian and their curry. If my mother cooks a bloody roast chicken, I'm like, whoa, what is the special occasion? We still wear our Indian outfits. The newer generations will probably only wear an Indian outfit when there's a special occasion like a wedding. There are some Indian aunties out there, especially with the older generations, who will still wear their saris every day. Not everyone, but some of them. Some Indian people still watch Bollywood movies. Okay, I won't lie, not me though, because ain't nobody got time for 3-hour movies. Some of them are still speaking Indian languages. My mother is a 3rd generation South African and she still speaks Tamil. Did she teach me Tamil? No, she didn't, because you know, she's just the greatest mother, isn't she? Jeepers. So as a result, thanks to my mother, I can only speak English and my second language is Afrikaans, which is similar to Dutch. Wow. And to be honest, now I think my Korean is slightly better than my Afrikaans, so. Now I just know there's gonna be one Indian auntie watching this video who's gonna be like, look at this girl saying she doesn't pray, she doesn't go to the temple, she doesn't watch Bollywood movies, she doesn't do this, he doesn't do that. What kind of Indian is this, huh? Don't worry, auntie. I promise, I'm so proud to be a South African Indian. I'm so proud to be a South African Indian. Hell, I want to be a South African Indian in my next life too. Just because I don't do some of those traditional things doesn't mean that I'm less of an Indian, okay? I'm still a proper South African Indian. I just do it differently to you. Basically, what I'm trying to say is I first and foremost identify as a South African. I now understand why people are so confused, because if you look at Indians in other countries, like if you look at American Indians or British Indians, a lot of those Indians are 1st generation or 2nd generation. So they probably still have a much stronger connection to their motherland than I would as a 4th generation South African. Because of that 4-generation gap, I find it really hard to identify as anything else but South African. Which is why when people first started responding to me with like, what do you mean South African? You look like you're from India. That is why I got offended. Just because to me, I was so obviously South African. Anyway, I hope that cleared things up for you. I hope that answered your burning questions. Get it? Burning like an Indian's bum after one lekker Durban bunny chow, hey? Yeah. Anyway, this was bugging me for some time. And well, I just had to get it off my very, very large chest. Also, a lot of this was my opinion. I'm not speaking for all South African Indians. I'm sure a lot of people will agree with me, but I'm sure there are some out there who won't agree with me. And please, if you don't, let me know. I'm very curious. Curious Kathy, that's me. But otherwise, if you enjoyed the video, give it a like. If you didn't enjoy the video, give it a like. Don't forget to follow me on all the social medias. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. And don't forget to press the notification button. Must I really tell you this every week? Huh? And I will see you next week with a new video.